5 channel. Thank you for joining. I'm going to sit tight here for just a few minutes, see if anybody decides to drop in on this live show on Sunday, October 23rd, 2020. Had the day off. I thought I would check in with you guys, and I'm just setting it up right now. That way, if people come on in, I can look at the chat and be able to talk to you folks. I'll be doing an update of what I've been up to the past month and a half. Really haven't done a live since I was in Maine. So I'm going to type into the chat here. And you folks, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, hey, drop them in there. We're going to talk about knives. We're going to talk about air guns. Riverbend longbows. Ray, how you doing, buddy? It's getting close to deer season here in Southern California, and I look forward to using your longbow, my friend. Camden, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for dropping in. So I thought tonight we'd just do an off-the-cuff talk. We can talk about some of the reviews I've done. I can go over some of this stuff. Was on a recent hunt with Jaime, who's no stranger to the channel, my good friend Dana from Mountain Sport Air Guns, and Terry, the offhand air gunner. We were up north, just south of the Sierra Nevada mountains, and got some pretty good tales to tell about that area too, if you guys are interested in that sort of stuff, like strange happenings, things that I've seen, and stuff that Dana's caught on actual audio. So that might be the topic for a future video if you guys are interested in stuff like that. But it's always good to drop in and talk to you folks. This is one thing that I miss from me and Andy Tran back in the day when we used to get together and do our live shows, and we would interview folks and just have an awesome time just playing around. So let's get right into it. Just posted a video today on the brand new Schrade. It's the Sharp Finger. You guys might want to go over and check that out. Hey Mike, how you doing, bud? And the Sharp Finger has been no stranger to the channel. Here's the original Sharp Finger that my dad gave me. Gosh, I was probably about 12 years old. I think I had just got my hunter safety certificate to be able to hunt up in Maine. And I think it was at that time, if you were 12 years old, you could hunt by yourself. So when I got my license and I proved to my pops that I could hunt basically by myself, my dad gifted me this blade, and I also got, and maybe you guys got this as well as a kid, depending on your age. I think it was a Harrison and Richardson over and under. It was a 22-410, and that was just the perfect shotgun rifle combo for a young kid growing up in northern Maine. In the back of our property, it was just raw wilderness, just cross the railroad tracks. And I mean, it was cedar swamps and hardwood forests, and it was just a great time to grow up. So this knife has seen a lot of action, gutting fish, brook trout, lake trout, salmon. And I used to use it skinning. I had a trap line. My grandfather taught me how to trap beaver, how to trap muskrat, and me and one of my friends in town, Alan Robertson, we used to get together, and we formed a partnership, and we had a trap line that we both ran together for like 2 years, and it was just a great time to grow up. I mean, I learned a lot. We used to tap maple trees and make maple syrup, and oh, just unbelievable, the memories. It's funny how an inanimate object such as this can just create memories. Hey John, how you doing, bud? But just the memories of carrying this, every time I pick it up, it's almost like a time machine. And I'm sure you guys have a piece of outdoor equipment. Hey, how you doing? Walnuts and Steel in the house. Great channel. If you guys like air guns, check his channel out. He puts out a lot of great content. So head on over to his channel. But it's just funny how an object like this can just take you back in time. Now, that's why I don't believe that, for me anyway, I believe, and a lot of Native Americans believe this, the more that I study metaphysics and travel and all that good stuff, the concept of time. And even Einstein kind of theorized this, that time is omnidirectional. It's not just linear. It's not point A to point B. And the reason for that is you can think about an old memory, such as grabbing this inanimate object, and all of a sudden you can feel that raw emotion from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, bringing it right up to the present. So this concept of time that we're living in is just a social construct, I believe, the more that I'm studying things. But just family heirlooms like this. So when I saw the new Buck 152 OTG, which stands for their generational series, I was like, man, I got to get me one of these, because, you know, I had the original. Also, because I'm a fanboy, right? I had to go get just a regular. And then I learned that there was a really cool company called Bear & Sons. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about Bear & Sons out there, but they're a company here in the States, and they make knives here in the States, I believe in the South. And they made a version of the sharp finger. So I'm thinking about doing a shootout video, kind of help these guys get on the board. They've been around for a while, but a lot of people don't know about them. And I mean, I've been doing this YouTube gig for over 15 years, and this was the first that I heard of Bear & Sons. So if you guys heard of Bear & Sons, put it down in the chat. Let me know. If you own any of their knives, let me know. They have a really cool catalog of knives. So when I bought the 152 OT, I was like, man, I got to get both of these and do a shootout mano-a-mano with these. So look for a video of these two coming up in the near future. Now, that's different than their generational series. This is made out of 1095 high carbon steel, and they're using bone handles, whereas I believe they're using stainless now on the 152 OT, keep the price down, but they're still using Delrin, saw cut Delrin. And just like the OG, right, got that similar look. So you're going to want to check out the most recent video, because I don't want to give a spoiler alert on there, but I think you're going to find something interesting to watch on this video. Just saying that. But man, I just love old school 1095. The patina, I can't get that patina off there. That's just blood from brook trout and from deer and from skinning all those years. And you know what? It's just awesome. Just looks great. I really like this knife. Now, I know that Old Timer also made one called a Deer Slayer that a lot of guys carried, but our little town Coffin's General Store, my town in Portage Lake, Maine, population under 500 people, didn't carry it in probably the Schrade rep at that time was probably pushing the 150. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm glad that I had it, and I had a lot of good memories with that knife, canoeing and just ice fishing. Now, here's a blade that I picked up, and I always like finding affordable stuff for you guys. Hey, I know, gas, San Diego, it's over $6. So, you know, I understand we got to make the dollar stretch a little bit. Here's a M-Tech, and you guys know that I like just bizarre, crazy profiles on blades. And I really, for some reason, I just like the tracker designs. So I wanted a tracker folder. There's a company, I think it's either in Spain or Italy, called Fox Knives. And they make a bitchin' looking folding tracker. The only issue is I don't want to pay like $300 for this just behemoth of a folder, right? So, of course, you know, cruising Amazon, and I came across this. So I'm just going to do a fun video out in the woods with this. I'll probably do a one stick challenge. I might even try to do a tri-stick with this. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of the Tanto point. For me, you know, it's just personal preference. But I figured for the price, it was under $20. I said, what the hell, you know, I'll throw down, and I'll get that, and we'll try it. But wait, there's more. I'm working on a video right now of the Tops Tom Brown tracker. Now, I've been studying and doing show notes and such on this for a couple of years now, and I've done a video already on the T4. It's the little baby tracker, and you guys can check that video out. I have it on my channel page. Just a great little knife. You can make it a good necker, just something whittling around camp. Just a fun little conversation piece, and it just makes curls like crazy if you're doing feather sticks. Just awesome. Also have the T1, and the T1 is just insane. 1/4 inch of steel, 1095 high carbon steel, weighs over 2 pounds. So realistically for me, I do like the aesthetics of the tracker style, and there's folks out there that know how to use these blades and can just do phenomenal stuff with this tool. But 2 pounds is a little bit heavy for me to be carrying around in the woods, unless I'm carrying some sort of air gun or something like that. So that leads me to the knife that I'm probably going to be reviewing. It's the T2. Now, they make a T1. That was the big boy. The T2, it's probably, probably half the size of the T1, but still a really good grip, as you can see on the pommel on the T1. I mean, there's room if you have a gorilla grip. The T2, and I have medium-sized hands, so it would fit probably 90% of the folks out there. I think this is a more manageable, realistic blade, and this is what I'm going to be doing a review on coming up soon. This is a 1/4 inch of steel. This is 3/16, I believe. Now, the T3 is a size that is just a little bit smaller than the T1. And folks were saying that I was talking to about doing this video series was like, well, dude, why don't you get the T3 and just talk about them all? One, the T3 is made out of expensive steel, so the price has gone up a little bit. And two, the size and weight difference isn't that much different than the T1. So if I'm not really carrying the T1 out in the woods, then I wouldn't carry the T2. I mean, T3, I'm sorry. So that leads me to the T2 and the T4 as a combo. So I'll probably be doing a video on that coming up. And we'll be going up to my favorite place out in the woods real soon for that. Now, if you guys didn't know this was going to turn into a knife show tonight, but Street knives. Heck yeah, I was out shooting as well. Nice. The weather's perfect for it. This is an EJ Snyder Bowie, and I did a video on this. Gosh, time flies by fast, a couple months ago. But if you guys are interested in just really cool, crazy, zany design blades, you might want to check out this video. This was a fun video to shoot. And EJ Snyder is just an awesome guy. I know EJ personally, and let me tell you what, he supports the community big time. So it was a pleasure to review that knife for EJ. So a while back, did a video, and I don't have the other air gun in front of me right now, but I did a video shootout with the Crosman 1322, just a stock Crosman. It's a multi-pump pneumatic air gun, and I did a head-to-head shootout with the Umarex Strike Point, and let me tell you, save your money. Don't buy the Strike Point. That thing is just terrible. The price range really similar to the 1322, but I'm telling you right now, guys, just save your money. Hey, Buck Rails in the house. They're an awesome air gun accessory company. You guys check them out. Veteran owned. You guys know that I support as a veteran myself. Fellow veteran owned companies, small businesses. They're the lifeblood of America. So if you guys are into modding some of your air guns, Buckrail does an awesome job. I'm telling you, go on over and check them out. Google them. I bought a barrel band for my Akela, and let me tell you what, it's made a huge difference in that air gun, being able to mount a bipod on the front. Because the way that the Akela is set up, they have a little tiny Picatinny Weaver rail on the front, and it only has one fastener, and there's no index in there. So when you put on a bipod, guess what? You're going through the brush, you're going through the woods, all of a sudden you tap it, and your bipod turns now. And it's just wearing on that wood. It's just putting a lot of abuse and use on that air gun that would have just been a simple design by putting two fastener holes instead of one. Now, I get it. They probably did it as a sling point, but it makes me wonder, these designers, do they actually use the product? Do they actually test the product before it goes to mass market? And from going to SHOT Show and talking to a lot of folks and stuff, I don't believe they do. I don't believe that a lot of these companies, and it's usually the bigger corporations, they're so huge that there's this disconnect where every department is like a silo, and marketing doesn't talk to operations and doesn't talk to their sales department and all that stuff. And then they wonder why the right hand doesn't know what the left's doing when all they had to do was send an email or somebody make a call or somebody just walk down to the person's cubicle and go, hey, bud, why don't we put 2 fasteners there instead of 1? It would have been an easy fix. Then you don't have pissed off end users, because the Akela can be a really nice air gun if they would have just taken 1 or 2 extra steps. And it's a good gun, don't get me wrong. I love it. It's a tack driver. But what that gun ultimately need was a regulator put in there as well. I mean, we're at a time and a point where if you're selling an air gun in the $500, $600, $700 range and you don't have a regulator to regulate the airflow in there, then you need to look at other options, because there's a lot of good options out there now in these price ranges that check most of the boxes. Now, there's going to be give and take with a lot of this stuff. You have to understand that. If they're going to put some part in, they're going to save, maybe in the stock's going to be a composite stock instead of a walnut stock. So you have to be mindful of that. I look at that as well when I do knife reviews. To me, I'm more concerned about the handle of the knife, the blade steel, the grind, edge retention over a sheath. Because 80 or 90% of the people out there are usually, one, either going to create their own sheath or they're going to have a Kydex sheath made. So, you know, Buckrail says, beam and underlever doesn't look quite as good as the Akela, but I prefer it and it's a good deal. I would agree. I would definitely agree on that comment. There are options out there. Just that when I saw the Akela come out, I was all excited because it was a Benjamin air gun, right? Ooh, yeah, Benjamin air gun. Awesome. And then I realized, once I got it, I realized, well, they subbed it out. They didn't make it. It's made over in Turkey, which I understand they got to hit a price point, you know, but that's the deal. Crossman owns Benjamin. They're a huge company. I don't think that they really care about sales like that, because they're selling to Sportsman Warehouse, they're selling to Walmart, they're selling to Bass Pro, they're selling to Target, all the big sporting goods stores. So they're in there selling pallets of stuff. I don't even think they even realize it, care, or even think about it. And that's a shame. I recently heard through the grapevine that they're going to discontinue the Benjamin 392, the multi-pump pneumatic air rifle. I just bought one for a video, and doing some research, one of my buddies says, yeah, insider telling me that they're discontinuing that. Once they sell through all their product, they're done. And I'm like, that's like a legacy edition air gun for that company. That company has been around for a very long time. And the multi-pump pneumatics, let me get a drink real quick because I'm on a rant. The multi-pump pneumatic air guns, especially the 392s, have been around 30 or 40 years. Then other iterations, model numbers of that air gun have been around. Brass barrel, brass, breech. I mean, most of that stuff is just bomb-proof, proven technology. And you would think that a company would want at least one item in their catalog as like a legacy edition. Now, I understand maybe they're not getting the sales that they normally got. Okay, so let's bring that item back in. Let's bring back a wooden stock. Let's church it up a little bit. And then let's sell it as a legacy limited production run each year. So collectors are people that, there's still people that love that style of air gun and the technology. would have access to it. Now, I understand the price point. We're looking at $215, $230, depending on where you buy it right now with the, hey, Bob, how you doing, bud? With the synthetic stock. But if you would have left the hardwood stock on there, I would have paid $350. I just would have. And if you would have just churched it up a little bit, the one that I got, I noticed from reading the forums, this is everything. When you look down the barrel, and this is unloaded, by the way, you're safe. There's on the Benjamin 392, there's black paint inside the barrel. So like nobody even took the time to either put tape or to put a little bit of a dowel, tape or dowel in the barrel before you paint the barrel. Now I got to go back and clean the barrel with some sort of acetone or paint thinner to get it out of the barrel, because folks are saying that if you want shot consistency, you have to do that because there's this paint film, 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch down the barrel. So I'm going to do a little research on that. I took some photos right out of the box, took it out in direct sunlight, because I wanted to know, hey, people were bitching about it. Did they solve the problem? Nah. Crossman doesn't care. They didn't care at all. So they're wondering why folks aren't buying their stuff anymore. Well, if you're not caring about your user, how do you expect these companies to care about you? And, it's just the cyclical thing. So at least with stuff like this, Bob, I have that gun, need to look. Yeah, take a look at it. I mean, if you shot it for a little bit, it might be hard to tell. Maybe down in the inside of the rifling. But be careful when you do that. Don't mess up the crown of the barrel. It's a brass barrel, so you got to be real careful with it. And the thing about that brass barrels is they shoot. The more you shoot them, the better they shoot. Now, I understand the price of brass has gone up and all that. Like I said, you could have made a legacy edition. You could have upcharged it. You could have put like a commemorative coin in the stock for each year, and maybe even number them and made them collector's items. Hey, newsflash, Crossman, if you need to hire me as a marketing person for you, I'm available. I'm not cheap, but I'm available. You guys can call me and we'll talk. But it's just stuff like that as a reviewer, it just drives me nuts when I see stuff like that. And a lot of folks working for these companies, they don't even have a clue. A lot of them don't even use the products, Let's see. Sorry, wife calling. Got to go. All right, Bob, you take care. I know how that is. Married 36 years so far. I'm going to knock on wood, that we keep it going. But no, just a lot of cool stuff that we got lined up. Now, if you guys go on over to my buddy Dana's channel at Mountain Sport Airgun, he posted up a video where we did a couple day hunt up in just south of the Sierras, and we were hunting ground squirrels, jackrabbits, and such. And we were playing around with some night vision scopes, the One Leaf night vision optics. It's a scope with the optics that go on it. Got a video on that as well. You guys, if you're thinking about getting into pesting, getting in where it's legal, coyote hunting at night, hog hunting at night, you're going to need some form of optics. Check it out. They're affordable. They're not the greatest, but they're affordable and they're usable. So, and I show you on that video of how they work and how they use real world. We're not in some studio fluffing it out for you folks. We're doing real world testing on the gear. So it was getting dusk and I had a coyote call, and we were sitting there, and coyote started popping off, barking. And I said, hey guys, I'm gonna grab my call real quick, touch it off. Let's see how many coyotes start freaking out. And we're miles out in the middle of nowhere. So I do the coyote call, and all of a sudden, boom, hear it over here, hear it over here, hear it over here, hear it over here. So we're like, oh man, let's get out there with these night vision scopes and see if we can't capture some video of some coyotes running around. So Dana and I, we both had the setups. We're walking around the middle of the night, kind of like Colonel Klink with a monocle, and one eye's completely whited out because I'm looking through the scope, which has a little monitor inside, and it's bright as hell. So I'm night blind in that eye, and I'm trying to look through the other eye, just cyclopsing it through the woods, hoping that I don't trip over trees and branches and all that stuff, or bump into a cougar or whatever at night. And it was funny. We were hearing them all around, and they would just stay out of range where we couldn't capture them on video. Then they would howl, and then we would hear this roar, which was totally different, something that I've never heard of. And I've been in the woods a lot. I've heard mountain lions before, and they almost sound like a baby crying. I've heard bear. This was just a weird sound that I had never heard. And it, sound travels at night seems like farther than during the day. And it seemed like it was 500-600 yards away. We just never could get it on video. But it was just totally bizarre. And what was crazy about that, it was in an area where about 2 or 3 miles away, Dana, on a previous trip, had captured some strange audio of a roar in the middle of the night, and then a shriek of like something was caught and it was being killed. You guys go on over to his channel. He's got it on one of his videos about a year ago. And what was crazy is we have hunted multiple times in that area. It's about a 4-hour drive for me north. I live in San Diego, and we're up between 5,000 and 6,000 feet of elevation. And we see weird tree breaks and all that. And here is a crazy story. And I don't have the actual video footage of what I saw, but in this last time that we went out there, I take you folks to the area and show you and describe what I had seen. So in the bizarre department, probably it was about a year ago, a little over a year. And exactly. And we were filming in that area. We were about a mile from camp, and we were in an open space in the middle between these two mountains. And there were some down trees, and we had taken a little time. We had seen some jackrabbits, and one thing or another got us to this one area where there was this really cool down tree that had been burnt. And excuse me. And Dana asked me if I would talk about my knife design, the Mount Laguna. I said, yeah, sure. So shot a video for him talking about the knife. And after we wrapped up shooting the video, I'm standing, and Dana is just like I'm looking at you guys right now. But over his shoulder on the hillside, there was a dark object, upright, huge. And I see it in like my peripheral. So it wasn't like crystal clear view. And it was about 200 to 300 yards away on this hillside. So we're talking, and I'm looking into his eyes as we're talking. Yeah, we're looking at his eyes. And then I notice this dark object walking on the hillside. So I go to point it out. I'm like, hey man, there's something walking upright on the hillside over there. And it goes behind this shrub outcropping, kind of like if you guys ever been to SoCal in the transition zones of mountains, there's like these oak shrub trees that grow, and they're probably 4 or 5 yards around, and they grow sometimes 10, 15, 20 feet tall. And it disappears behind that. So I go, I mean, I'm getting like crazy. I go, there's something moving up there. It was on 2 legs. It was walking, and they're all like, what the hell are you talking about? So I grab my camera gear and my stuff, and I head on up there, and they all follow. No sign of anything. It's like whatever it was just vaporized, disappeared. I go, you know what? I'm going inside that oak outcropping, and it was grown in. I mean, really grown. And I took Jaime there to see that spot, so he knows the area that we're talking about. He just chimed in right now. But it was a little freaky. We were all like, should I go in there? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going in there, check it out. So I go in there, check it out. There's no tunnels, there's no burrows, there's no den, there's nothing. It's just overgrown, just shrub in there, and disappeared. Nothing there, disappeared. It's just bizarre. So I started looking up stories of that area, kind of like if you guys ever follow David Politis in the Missing 411 stuff. He also does Bigfoot researching as well. And he spent 2 years up in Northern California at the Hoopa Indian Reservation just south of Bluff Creek. Let me just tell you, he's got 3 books on the subject. Buy them. They're interesting as hell. He's a former police officer. So what he did was he goes around, and as he's interviewing folks, he has them sign legal affidavits declaring what they're saying is true and that they're not falsifying anything. Where's my cowboy hat? He misses it. Okay, one moment. All right, we'll put the hat on for you since we're squatching talking here. So he gets these legal affidavits, and so we were out there. I don't know what it was. I'm not going to say it was a squatch. I'm not going to say it was a Bigfoot. I sure as hell know that it wasn't a bear. I have seen bears walk on their hind legs before, but the way this object was walking, the way it was walking, it didn't walk like a bear would walk on its hind legs. Plus, a bear wouldn't disappear. It wasn't a coyote. It wasn't a cougar. I can't explain it. I don't know what it was. And we had gone back to that area on that recent hunt that we did. I've always wanted to go back there because the past couple hunts, Dana and I went to an old bunker that he had found at a remote location, and we had hunted out there, which was really cool. They used it as an old artillery range during World War II. And there was a ton of tree breaks there as well. It was probably about 15 miles from where we were camping at this sighting. So getting back to my research, I'm researching the area of sightings. And a lot of people are afraid to say that they see stuff that they can't explain because they don't want people to think, oh, you're a crackpot, you're loony, you're this, you're that. Just fill in the blank of what you are. So doing my research over the course of probably the past 20 years, 30 years, there have been, I'm not going to say countless sightings, but there's been quite a few sightings in and around the area that we were at. And Jaime got a good point about the black bear, but I guarantee it wasn't a black bear. It wouldn't have disappeared. It would have ran off. We would have saw it. So doing the research, there was credible people that had seen things that they can't explain. One of them being a U.S. Forest Service ranger had spotted a bipedal entity in and around that area, probably about 20 to 27 years ago. A Caltrans surveyor working on one of the rural backcountry access roads had a sighting while they were out there doing surveying a road for a future construction project. There's been a couple instances where campers have heard crazy roars at night, which coincide and sound a little bit like the description of what Dana picked up on audio the one night that he was out there. Yeah, no kidding. So, you know, we don't know what this is. There's just been too many things to think that something couldn't possibly exist. I mean, if you study Native American culture, First Nations, in most of their oral history, they always have some form of Sasquatch in their history. Now, there's the painted Bigfoot family up at Placerville on their Indian reservation up there on the rocks, and they think that that petroglyph is probably a couple thousand years old. And it clearly shows like a adult Bigfoot and like a family. And then there's also drawings of beaver and other animals. So somebody, and you can make out the beaver really good on there in the other animals. And if you do a quick search, Google, I mean, there's all sorts of photographs out there of this. But it's near water. It's in a remote area. Just perfect conditions for something to exist out there. Now, it doesn't mean that they're hanging out there today, but they could be nomadic and they're traveling with the herds of deer or any other food source that is traversing the Sierra Nevada mountains all the way down to LA and even farther down through the San Gabriels and all that. They did determine that the Yeti was a real name. Yeah, I mean, now the hardest thing that's going to be now is with the advent of digital cameras and video. There's a lot of kids that can do a lot of hoaxing, and anybody who's edited video can tell you that you can do a lot of crazy stuff. But the Patterson Gimlin film, see, you guys go from knives to air guns to Bigfoot, just boom, boom, boom. The Patterson Gimlin film has probably been the most scrutinized, most tested, not video, but film out there. And there have been folks that took that film to Disney in the late 60s, early 70s, and they said, we do not have the technology to make a suit like that. One, it's a female, and what would be the odds of somebody making a female suit? Plus, in that time, they didn't do the logging at Bluff Creek the way that they're doing now. So they had to ride horseback for miles in the backcountry. And if you've been to NorCal, I've been to the Mount Shasta area. I've camped out at Mount Shasta many a times. I've mountain bike raced up there. I've mountain bike rode. I hit a bear on a mountain bike up there one time. It can get pretty remote quick, and the backcountry's steep. It's rough. You got big trees. The ground is usually overgrown. There's a lot of water, and it's just an area now that it's possible. It's definitely possible. So look for a video of that coming out possibly soon. I'm working on that. I have some footage that takes you back to the area, and I kind of recreate the event so you guys can see for yourself. I'm not going to tell you the exact location because we just don't need people going up there hitting trees with baseball bats and whooping and doing all the stupid stuff that you see on the Travel Channel. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. And I would like to go up there at wintertime and check that area out. Now, wintertime, they usually lock the gates, and it would be a good little haul to get in there. But that would be interesting. Interesting. We're also thinking, and we're talking to me and a couple friends, we're talking to electric bicycle companies. We're talking about seeing if we can get a couple bikes to do an electric bike backcountry hunt excursion. It's true. Yeah, I would agree. You know, so we're thinking about seeing if we can't get us a couple electric bikes, maybe an electric bike company sponsor us. But a lot of times, as soon as you mention, a lot of them are all hip. They're like, yeah. And then we go, yeah, we're going to use it. We're going to go hunting. And oh, you guys hunt? Oh. And then all of a sudden we don't hear from them anymore. So if we can find an electric bike company that supports real outdoor adventures, going hunting camp, fishing camp, expeditions, we're looking possibly to do a really remote camp, because now these electric bikes, depending on the terrain, I mean, you can get 30, 40, 50 miles out of these bikes. If we bring the solar panel, we can do a trickle charge and maybe extend the trip. You know, you're going to want an assist because these electric bikes probably weigh 40, 50 pounds or more. And I remember my days of being a mountain bike racer. I mean, anything that was 25 or 30 pound bike, man, it was like dragging a boat anchor. So if you got to pedal that plus all your gear, your camp gear and whatever you're hunting with, it's definitely going to be interesting, but it'd be one hell of a trip to film. And I think that would make a really good like documentary. But if you guys are into content like that, man, leave it in the comments. Let me know, because we want to make stuff that you guys want to see. And when we pitch ideas to sponsors, it's easier to I don't want to say sell the idea, but to sell the idea if there is community support behind it. So we're looking at doing stuff like that. I'd like to get to Arizona, do some air gun hunting out there. I'd like to get on javelina. If we could hunt javelina with air guns, I need to check. But I know that they have a tree squirrel season out there. That would be kind of cool. And just get up into some remote areas. A lot of people don't realize that Arizona has a lot of high mountain area, that pine trees, they have elk. It's not all Sonoran Desert in Arizona. So we would love to show you that rugged country and just do like a travel vlog of that. But that's been a quick rundown of everything going on, from hunting to archery to knives to Bigfoot to air guns. Man, we're just hitting it hard tonight. But we try to have fun on this channel. That was the whole concept of when I started this channel 15 years ago, is if I'm not having fun, then we need to close shop and not run this channel. So I'm going to keep putting out content, whether we get 500 views or whether we get 50,000 views. I'm going to do it with the same amount of passion. Every video, try to put out the best content that I can for you guys. And I'm going to have fun doing it. So with that, folks, I'm going to call it a night. And let's see. Nice omnidirectional air gun squatch, electrical bite. Yeah. Buck Rail, we need to get together and talk. I have some ideas for some stuff. Most definitely. By the way, let's see. He did buy the Powder River Cowboy hat. It's his favorite. I love that hat too. You know, the buffalo hair hats. I mean, it's just an awesome, awesome hat. And it's starting to get colder here in SoCal, so I'll be wearing that real soon. So with that, folks, thank you so much for your support of the channel. Thank you so much for watching and what we do out here. With gas prices and such, I mean, it's eating up my YouTube budget, but we're going to keep doing the best we can with what we have, where we can do it. So with that, folks, I want you to all take care, be safe out there, love one another, and we'll talk soon. Take care.